to the roadmap, Benzinga's new NFT show. We've had some great teams, some great episodes on past episodes that we have aired. Pixel Vault, Art Blocks, Robotos, The Doge Pound, Oniforce, Crypto Dads, Lazy Lions, Supduck, Wall Street Bulls, and more. We also did an NFT giveaway. Definitely stay tuned. We got more giveaways coming up. Don't miss today's episode. We got news, we got headlines. We're talking projects that Maz and I minted, and we will be going to the chat to find out what projects you want to talk about. So smash that like, subscribe to Benzinga's YouTube channel. This is the roadmap. All right, guys. Yeah, as I said, the roadmap currently airing Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern time, featuring myself as a co-host and my wonderful co-host, Maz. Maz, what's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
Yo, what's up, Chris? I mean, hey, it's pre-Thanksgiving, day. I'm excited to be here. Perfect day to talk NFTs. There's a lot going on, so it's gonna be a great episode. Yesterday's episode was great. We had a great team come on and talked with us, and yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this week, Maz. I don't know whether this week has gone by fast or that it's gone by slow because it's only Wednesday, but also it's Wednesday of a holiday week. So it has
Yeah.
seemed to go by fast. And also, we normally air Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. This is only our second show this week, but we hosted that Twitter Spaces Monday night with Roaring Leaders. So today really feels like our third episode. And yesterday, as you said, we had a great team on Wall Street Bulls. And they showed up in full force, right? And they were in the chat. We joined that Discord. That Discord is alive and well. I mean, if you're looking for a place to see memes every 5 seconds, Wall Street Bulls, they got it going on. They are highly active. Maz, before we go too far into today's episode, I do want to remind everyone today is a sponsored episode. We, of course, are sponsored for today's episode by Blockchain Boys Club. Shout out to Blockchain Boys Club. They were on a past episode. We did that interview with them. We got to hear all about that project, all about how they're connecting, kind of the stock market to NFTs. So if you have not had a chance to check out Blockchain Boys Club, it is in the description below, all the details. So, Maz, I mean, Roaring Leaders Monday, Wall Street Bulls yesterday. 2 big interviews. We've had big interviews in the past. We got more interviews coming up. I think the question, some wanted to know yesterday are when bull. So I have not bought a Wall Street Bull yet. I am still looking around, getting used to that community. I know we got Wilberto in the chat right now. Maz, have you bought a Wall Street Bull yet?
No, Chris, and here's why. So here's one thing I've realized lately, being in the NFT space for a while now. If I want to buy something that's not just at floor price, I want to take my time. If I want to buy something that I want to keep and be part of the community, I want to find a piece that I like. So I don't want to just pick a floor piece up and just kind of like whatever, and then in 2 months I sell it or so I do like this community and I want to pay its respect. And if I do purchase, I want to take my time and find a piece that I truly generally like and won't sell if a price goes up or a price goes down. So I'm taking my time with this one. But they were a great team, great community.
Excellent points, Maz. We talked about traits yesterday with the team, and I mean, Maz, I don't want to sound too cocky, but I think we asked some great questions of these teams, right? But one of my favorite questions is asking the teams what their favorite traits are. I mean, again, we have on the founders, we have on the artist, and yesterday when we heard from Wall Street Bulls, their favorite traits aren't necessarily the most rare, right? It's the ones that are, maybe the most personable to them. And I like hearing that, Maz. Rather than a team saying, oh, my favorite trait, is something where there's only, 1 or 2 of it, because viewers aren't going to be able to go out and, look at that trait and make a purchase. So I like hearing about some of their favorite traits that maybe are, underbought or people didn't realize. I mean, yesterday, Wall Street Bulls, I loved seeing the roaring kitties trait, right? With the cats in the background. I mean, if you know the GameStop story, you know who Roaring Kitty is. But yeah, great episode, great team. So shout out to Wall Street Bulls again. I know some of them are in the chat. So we will be interacting with them throughout the episode. And Maz, with that being said, we're going to get into news and headlines, but a reminder to anyone who has been here and to anyone who's new to the stream, yes, your comments appear on screen. We are able to see them. We can read them. We can highlight them. We want you to talk during this episode. We want you to be active. We want to hear what you think of what we're saying. We want to hear what projects you're watching. When we get through news and headlines, Maz and I will pull up some projects on OpenSea, on Twitter, the Discords, and we'll look at some projects that maybe we have never heard of before, which is actually how we got some of our interviews this week. So a shout out again to all the communities joining us.
Exactly. So leave the comments. We're looking, that's what happened with Crypto Dads, Roaring Leaders, Lazy Lions. Get in the chat, interact with us, and then we connect. And, we would love to have the teams on. So, yeah.
The Bulls don't leave, they said, Maz. The Bulls don't leave. So, again, shout out Wall Street Bulls. Maz, let's get into headlines. One of the headlines we always talk about each week is the top 10 from the previous week. So I do a weekly article on Benzinga. You can find it on Benzinga's site. It is the top 10 NFTs by sales volume from the previous week. And this data comes from CryptoSlam. Number one last week, Axie Infinity. No surprise. They're always number one pretty much.
Yep.
Followed by Bored Ape Yacht Club and Mutant Ape Yacht Club. And both of those were up over 45% from the previous week. So again, nice sales volume there. The Sandbox up 200%, 45.6 million. The metaverse virtual land continues to be hot. Then Wolf Game joined the list at 36.8 million last week. We're going to talk about that in a minute. CryptoPunks, of course, on the list. Doodles, 28.8 million in sales volume last week. That was up 349%. That was a big gainer. We'll get into that in a minute. And then, of course, Art Blocks and Cool Cats rejoined the top 10 list, up 37%. Maz, let's start with Wolf Game, right? That was a hot one last week. We saw several NFT influencers, right, tweet about this project, Beanie and others. And this was a, on-chain NFT game. And a lot of people got into this one. And, as expected, I think the sales, they sold out, the volume picked up, the floor price rose, and a lot of people are in this game. And it's actually picked up more influencers along the way. Maz, what do you know and think about Wolf Game here?
Dude, okay. So Wolf Game, well, we had Gary V shill it. We had Casey. A lot of like you said, these big influencers talk about this game, talk about how revolutionary it is. And this is great for a couple of reasons because on-chain games have been around. So actually the original on-chain game is EtherOrcs, which I'm doing a Twitter space for tonight. But this brought a lot of attention to on-chain games. We have, snails. It's like on-chain snails. There's on-chain EtherOrcs. So this is great because this brought the conversation to, on-chain games, and they've been trending for the last week or so. But the thing here is the Wolf Game itself, depending on when you bought, because a lot of people made a lot of money from it. It was shilled by everybody. But it's a very, play with caution game, very volatile. And I think the contract is paused right now. There were some issues with the contract, so it's paused. So I don't think you can unstake or take your wolves or cheap out, which I think may create a lot of volatility once the contract is live.
Yeah.
Let's hope this ends well because, like you said, and when everyone shills it, and that's the controversy that was on Twitter, right? There's better tech, there's better games that have better technology that have been around for a longer time. But since every celeb was shilling it, I saw people selling their cars and houses to get into this. When Gary Vee tells you this is the next big thing, some people just FOMO out, right? And that's the thing with NFTs, people FOMO. So I would love to see this not end in a disastrous way, but I think this is going to pave the road to on-chain games and the discussion of on-chain games and how they develop over the next year, because I've been a part of an on-chain game and dude, it's so much fun. The only thing is the gas fees can get, a little overwhelming sometimes, but I think if you build a layer 2 on top of it, This is the future. So I'm glad these conversations are being had. Very controversial though. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Maz, you brought up so many points there. I want to break down a couple of them, right? So, the big thing with this game, as you said, a lot of influencers getting behind it. Also the contract. We've got the wool, and then also there was some I think misinformation about exactly how the game worked. Right? You can actually breed a new sheep, get him stolen by a wolf. So you had people, not realizing that could happen, losing their new sheep, losing gas, different things. So again, it's kind of cool to see a game like this pop up, right? And the thing is, what happens when the game ends, right? There's only so many sheep. Will they create a new project? And they've already done some airdrops, right? You got land that everyone got. So I mean, they're trying to keep the project going. I like that. But I mean, the floor price is like over 3 for sheep, and I just wonder how long they can sustain that. But again, I mean, it was cool to see a game like this pop up. And as you said, let's circle back, to the orcs, right? So the first on-chain game, and that was the big thing, right? Was Wolf Game, and some of the influencers, said, they were first. And I mean, Maz, outside of stocks, outside of crypto, outside of NFTs, there's always going to be a debate, right, over who was the first to do something. I mean, who was the first to come to America? Who was the first to find a state? Who was the first for everything, right? But you can go back thanks to the blockchain, and you can look at the dates, right? That's one of the things. So clearly you can see that orcs, beat Wolf Game to it. But Maz, as you said, Wolf Game brought more attention to orcs. So orcs was already successful. It was already doing good on its own, but Wolf Game really actually ended up helping it, right? So whether or not Wolf Game was first, they definitely brought more attention to it. And then, Maz, I got to make sure anyone that's watching or listening heard that you will be doing a Twitter Spaces tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, with the team behind orcs. So again, Maz's Twitter handle is on screen. If you don't follow him, I don't know why you don't follow him, but shoot him a follow on Twitter, because when that Spaces pops up, you're going to want to find out more about orcs. I mean, Maz, I love video games. I love mobile games. And I think games is going to be a big feature for NFTs, right? And a lot of NFTs that have launched have said, hey, we're going to build a game in the future. And, that's great on paper, right? But very few have actually launched an on-chain game. So to hear from orcs and hear exactly how they did it and what's coming, I think is so exciting in the NFT space.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. And yeah, the conversation is going to be also around, like you said, on-chain gaming, and the orcs have got some big names. They've purchased, orcs in the last week because of this game. So we have like Tropo, a couple of big influencers have bought this project, and they're involved in the gamification of it now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this discussion goes further, and hopefully we bring some spotlight, not just to Ether Orcs, but to on-chain gaming as a whole, because it's still early. So every project can succeed. It's just about, as a community, figuring out how it's going to go. So yeah, it should be exciting tonight. So yeah.
And shout out to Tropo. We of course had him on a past episode for an interview. He's a well-respected name in the NFT space. I love the fact that he got into orcs, and he didn't just buy the orcs, right? He's trying to learn, and he's trying to, get involved with the community, which I love that. But yeah, I'm excited for your Twitter Spaces tonight. Maz, with that being said, I mean, seeing these on-chain games get heavy mention, on Twitter, in the media, I really think we're going to see some video games start to shift to NFTs, right? Whether it's buying out an NFT or launching their own. I mean, these projects are showing that people want NFT games, and I know I want more NFT games, so I'd love to see more entries in the space.
Exactly. Same here, Chris. I'm excited for that. Should be fun.
All right, what do we got next in news here?
Yes, so let's move on with the news here. So Chris, again, athletes, celebs, NFTs, we're seeing more and more of that happen. Every episode we do, there's another celeb or another artist that has, a connection to NFTs. So we have an NFL player, Andrew Sandejo. He featured his Bored Ape Yacht Club number 4247 on his cleats for the Colts versus Buffalo Bills matchup on Sunday. So look at that. That looks dope.
Those look sweet.
The ape was purchased 4 days ago for 57 WETH, which is around 238,000 today. It's the number 7,061 rare ape on Rarity Tools. So interesting. The ape has a yellow background, which only 13% of Bored Apes have. Hawaiian clothes, which only 3% of Bored Apes have. The X eyes, which 2% of Bored Apes have. Army hat, which 3% of Bored Apes have. Dark brown fur, 14% of Bored Apes. And the dumbfounded mouth, which is 5%. So, Chris, looking at this here, man, we saw the NBA player Michael Carter Williams did a contest to see which shoes he would wear. So we see NFTs happening on shoes now. Is that the new thing?
Yeah, I think that's going to continue, right? I mean, celebrities and athletes buying. I mean, you're obviously buying the NFT for probably a couple reasons, right? You're buying it because you like it, you like the artwork, you like the community, you like the value, right? You think the value is going to go up. Also, you're buying it, to kind of flex, right? It can be your PFP on Twitter, but what better flex for an athlete than to actually wear your NFT? I mean, I think that's so cool. Like, I could make a pair of shoes, Maz, with, some of my NFTs on them, but no one's going to see them, right? My kids are going to see them. A couple people are going to see them. But if you're an athlete and you put an NFT on your shoe, people watching the game see it. People on Twitter see it because it's getting shared. All your sports commentators, your sports analysts are talking about it. I mean, like, Maz, I can honestly say I had never heard of this NFL player before I wrote this article and before, the NFT cleats. And also the Colts were underdogs in that game and they ended up winning. I mean, I'm not saying it was because of the cleats, but I mean, when Tyrese Halliburton wore his Bored Ape NBA shoes, he actually had better points, rebounds, assists than his averages. So, I mean, maybe wearing an NFT is good luck. And Maz, you said it at the end there. Michael Carter Williams, he's an NBA player. He actually launched a contest. We talked about this on the show before to see which NFT he would feature on NBA shoes, right? And he announced that the winner is Ballers, which is an NFT on the Flow blockchain. So that's interesting that Ballers won. It isn't, a basketball themed project, which is kind of cool. I was kind of hoping, that Crypto Dads or Doge Pound would have won because I think those would be sweet on shoes. Maz, we talked about this before. I mean, I think NFTs look really cool on shoes. I think we will see more of this. The big question is, when is Nike or when are some of these, clothing and shoe companies just going to go all in themselves and license and partner with the NFTs? What do you think of that?
Do you think Nike buys a Bored Ape anytime in the future, Chris?
I think so. You know what? Or I take that back. I feel like if Nike is trying to decide right now, I feel like the underdog here, Under Armour should jump and buy one before Nike does. And again, Under Armour has a partnership with Steph Curry. Steph Curry they're with Nike. Love it. Shout out, Alyssa. So Under Armour has a partnership with Steph Curry. Steph Curry owns a Bored Ape. Like, how much more clear does that need to get for them to just do this, right? Make a pair of Bored Ape shoes featuring Steph's ape. And I mean, Maz, I think you'd sell the shit out of these, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I would buy them. I would buy
right.
I mean, I would buy them. Yeah. Exactly. No, I can't wait to see that. And that's a great idea, Chris. If you are like a Nike or, any like an Under Armour, any company trying to get some, free exposure, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, how about a small player? Like, if you're a non-public clothing company or shoe company right now, like this is it. Like, again, Visa bought that CryptoPunk and they paid, I don't even remember how much, but they paid less than they would spend on like a Super Bowl commercial. And they got so much publicity out of it, so much that it was actually worth more than they paid for the punk. And again, I mean, you got this huge return from, your investment based on, marketing, brand awareness. I mean, when we had Wall Street Bulls on yesterday, Maz, I mean, one of them talked about how Visa buying the punk, was a big, light bulb that, hey, NFTs are just growing. So, I mean, I'd love to see a clothing or a footwear company, go all in here. But we will, of course, talk about that when it happens, Maz, because I really think when, not if here. I want to turn to our next news item. And shout out to the Robatos team and Pablo Stanley. So we, of course, had Robatos on a past episode. And Maz, I mean, big news from Robatos yesterday. They did a town hall with Time. They are going to be developed for a television show by Time Studios, which is the film and TV production studio from Time Magazine. So Time Studios recently launched a kids and family division. This is one of their first projects. They also said that it's going to be the first of many NFT projects to be brought on board. I mean, this is big, and we saw the floor price then of Robatos rise yesterday, and also RoboPets, right? I think that's maybe the underdog here. If I had to pick one, Maz, is that RoboPets launched as a free mint for anyone who owned a Roboto, and we saw that floor price go up yesterday, but they're still only 0.13. I mean, it wasn't said in the article, and I didn't listen to the town hall, but I'm gonna guess that Robatos and RoboPets will both be featured in that show.
Yeah.
What's the play here, Maz? I mean, we're obviously gonna be months away from this television show launching.
Yeah.
Do you think we continue to just see the floor price, go up steadily? Are we gonna get a dip and then this thing takes off right around showtime? Is Pets a value buy here? What do you think? Again, not financial advice for anyone listening or watching, but just Maz, your personal overall thoughts here of the Robatos news.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer of the team of a project, right? You look at the team of a project, you get a sense of where they're going. Pablo and the team, dude, when they came on, they were awesome.
Yep.
What this reminds me of, very cool cat-esque vibes, not from maybe from the art, sure, a little bit, but as far as a project goes, as far as the team and what they're doing, I got into Cool Cats, Chris, around like 0.4, 0.5. Never have I thought of selling it. I feel like I'd be the same approach to the Robatos. I like the community so much. Pablo's doing so much. He's a great artist, great vibes. This would be like a buy and hold for me, and just not worry about any fluctuations in and out. I think if NFTs take off, which they looks like they're going to, this is one of those projects that will, make it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, Maz, we had a great conversation on a past episode talking about Coinbase, right? And
Yeah.
one of the big things I think Coinbase is going to do different than OpenSea is, Coinbase probably isn't going to have all the NFTs on it, right? They're going to look for bigger projects. They're going to look for big communities. They're going to look for verified teams, verified communities, right? Because Coinbase has a lot at stake. They're a publicly traded company. They're a big company. They don't want to risk it all with NFTs, right? They want to do this approach, very conservatively, I think. So with that being said, they've already announced some NFT teams that they're partnering with. And I think we're going to get more. And one of the ones that, I think you said and I said as well was Robatos. And I think this TV show strengthens that argument that they could be featured with Coinbase, right? And I mean, we're going to see TV shows and movies come out of NFTs. It's going to happen. Some of the teams that have been on episodes, including like Crypto Dads, have said, hey, we're working on a show. But this is actually now in the works. Like they signed. Time Studios is making a show based on Robatos. Like it's going to happen. And I just think that's huge. And again, not financial advice, but I think Robatos has a good entry point here if you buy and hold. I mean, you're not going to be able to flip it probably a couple days from now, a week. But I think as we get closer to the show actually launching, there's going to be some huge value there. And I mean, RoboPets, I would say the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Chris. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about some projects that launched this week, Chris. I see in the chat, I see some goons, Krypton goons. I see some bulls, some Society of Derivative Apes. So if you're in the chat right now, let us know your project. Chris, there's some exciting mints, man. Let's talk about them. Which ones did you mint, or did you keep your eyes on any specifically?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Soda, right? Derivative Apes. And I mean, Maz, we've already seen some derivatives launch, right? And Apes has been a popular one. And this one also was, based on Doodles, right? So it kind of combined two hot projects, two big projects. I was drawn in from the artwork and the colors from this right away, right? And also it already had a huge following. So I ended up buying one before the reveal, right? I didn't want to risk the mint because I thought that this was going to sell out so fast, which it did. And I just didn't
Yeah.
want to get caught in a gas war. There's my soda right there. Rainbow
Nice.
background, rainbow hoodie. There's only 6 that have that combination. So I'm pretty happy with that. But Maz, I mean, the floor price on these went up, and we saw good sales volume today. It's going to be another one of those projects where I wish I had more liquidity and I would have bought more than one, right? Because it's so hard to part with one. And if you have more than one, it's easy to sell and take profits and hold. I know you got into this project too. So Maz, what do you think of soda and maybe some of the traits and the ones that you have and are looking at here?
Yeah, so first off, shout out. So we actually, the reason I found out about them, I mean, I've heard about them, but the reason I really looked into it, in our Discord, we have a mod for the team there, and he
Yep.
broke it down for us. So he kind of made it clear, hey, the team is fully doxed, the team is young, their art looks good. I think it's a perfect combination of Doodles-esque, Bored Ape-esque, but not enough that you feel like it's a straight imitation, which I like. They make great profile pictures. And like we said, Chris, people are priced out from Bored Apes. They're priced out from Doodles. They
Yep.
still want a cool looking profile picture. Dude, this is a perfect one right here. That stands out. It's the colors. The colors are really, they pop out. So I'm a fan of this project. I like them. I own a couple. Yeah, there's one right there. My guy right there.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Love the
another one.
shades. Love the
Yes.
hats.
So
Yeah.
they're cool guys. And I looked at the roadmap and it looks good. So it looks up like a promising project to me. It's not the gaming, it's not the staking that we're used to.
Yep.
That's trending. It's just a good old, clean profile picture. So yeah, I like this project.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if anyone else out there has a soda. And again, Maz, you said goons. Let's talk about goons. What do you know about this project, and what should people maybe look for? Since the floor has already gone up a lot on this, can we expect this to be maybe a buy and hold going forward?
First of all, shout out to the goons in the chat. Let's hear it. Comment it up, like, share this with the team. So yes, this project, Chris, again. So in our Discord, we actually have one of the developers for the project.
Yep.
His name is
Yep.
Jesse. He was in our Discord and he talked to us about this project before it came out. So, he kind of gave us an idea of what to expect. He gave us the alpha, but dude, this took off, man. We had Gary
Oh
V,
man.
FaZe Banks, yeah, what were you saying, Chris?
Maz, did you see that pop up? We just got a 69.69 tip in the chat
Heck
from
yeah.
Ryan, who said he is the project lead right here in the house, Maz. I mean, again, this show is the place you want to be. We're getting so much alpha from these teams. We're talking about it. We're bringing them on for interviews. Shout out Ryan, great job with this project, and we want to have you on the stream sometime. So let us know. We can do a video or we can do a Twitter Spaces, whatever you are, more preferred. But let us know. And Maz, keep going. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we talked
Appreciate
about that
coming,
super
Ryan.
sticker.
Heck yeah, thanks for coming, Ryan. So yeah, dude, this project took off over the last weekend. Dude, we saw everybody talking about it, tweeting about it, but the art is really cool. So if we pull up the art, if we can focus a little bit on some of these pieces, very old school vibes. And Jesse shared in our Discord a video of the artist and his background, kind of like old Bronx style art. And it just resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people. So I own a couple of these pieces, and again, no plan to flip, no plan to sell, just holding them because I like the work. I tuned into one of their spaces over the weekend as well, just to kind of hear more of the background of this project. And man, great team, great community so far. So shout out to the goons here in the chat, and we would love to get them on sometime soon to kind of dissect their brain and see where the project is going. And they've accomplished so much so fast. I mean, again, validation from Gary V, FaZe Banks, and all these influencers is huge.
Yeah, and I mean, Maz, I love the artwork, and this is another one just like Soda, where I think it passes the PFP test. I've already seen people using goons as their PFP. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean a project will be successful or is successful, but it's another factor that I like to consider, right? When looking at Discords, when looking at Twitter, if you see people using these as their PFPs, I like that. And I mean, Goons passes that test. I like the artwork here. Some of them remind me of, an old school Mickey Mouse, which I love. Yeah. As someone, who grew up on cartoons, I've got kids that love Mickey Mouse. But just different, right? And very cool. And again, as you said, we've got some influencers in, we've got a big community. This thing minted well. It's got a nice sales volume and a nice floor price. I was not able to mint this, but now looking at the floor price being 0.21, I'm liking that entry point. I think this thing got up to like, didn't it got up to what, like 0.5 or 0.6? Okay.
0.6-ish, yeah.
Yeah. See, in 0.6, I was like, okay, like, yes, it can go higher from there, but I don't want to chase it right here, right? It's kind of like stocks, right?
Yeah.
I would rather wait a little bit, see if the floor comes down. And now today at 0.21, I'm taking a look at it later, off stream. And again, I'm not just going to buy a floor one. I'd like to get one with good traits, like you said, Maz. But shout out to the Goon Gang in the chat. And again, shout out to Ryan for joining us in the chat. Thank you for that super tip. And, we look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, and what I liked about them too, what they said is, they had all these influencers talk about the project, but they mentioned, they're not going to pay influencers to talk about them. And that's a big thing I like about projects. I hate when projects just try to pump it up. Let me get Belfort, who'll pump anything up. Let me get this guy who'll pump anything up. No, I don't like that. I like an organic growth. I mean, think about how the validation to have Gary Vee, FaZe Banks buy your project without you having to market to pay them. I mean, that's the biggest compliment you can get as a creator, and I'm sure these guys feel proud of that. And that's one thing. And I'm in their Discord as well, and I hop around from time to time. And it's a strong community. It's not just floor price, shill, pump. There's some community there, which again, I'm a fan of. And yeah, look at that. That's sick. I need to do that for mine.
Yeah. The physical NFT on the wall. Maz, I just got to shout out the chat one more time. Wilberto joining us again. He was in here yesterday to talk about bulls. He also gave us that great tip yesterday, right? So thank you again, Wilberto. But I love this comment. Love the knowledge and approach the roadmap takes. Take note. Wilberto, thank you again for the kind words. And I really love hearing stuff like that, right? We're not a show to just pump up projects. We're not a show to just, shill everything. We want you to come bring projects to us, but we'll take a good approach and a good look at them, right? We'll share our feedback. And we're going to talk about the news, the headlines, and we're also going to provide education and the interviews to really help our viewers, right? I mean, I can't mint everything. I can't buy everything, but I love to help other people, right? So hopefully people that are watching this or listening to this podcast are getting some sort of education and, thoughts on the space. So shout out to our chat.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Chris. Really quick, I want to touch on the fact that there's so many good projects out there, but they just fail to show the world that they exist. I've seen a lot of projects that don't leverage Twitter Spaces or media as a tool to expose or share their story, essentially. So, we love to find these projects that are great, projects that don't have that exposure or that, just need to be out there for the world. So there's a lot of good quality projects out there, but there's also a lot of junk. So make sure, again, always do your own research.
Yeah, excellent point, Maz. Well, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some new projects, maybe. So start dropping in the chat, guys. What projects do you want us to look at? Maz, were there any other mints or recent projects that you maybe minted or looked at before we get to the chat here?
We're back to one I want to talk about, chain runners, Chris. Have you heard of chain runners?
I have. That's another one that started popping off, right? Due to the on-game stuff, right?
Let's pull that up. This was a free mint, man. Not a free mint, sorry. We were on the white list of this project, but the floor was like 0.01, 0.02, 0.03 like 2 weeks ago. This has taken off, and we've seen a lot of punks have actually bought this project, and they're kind of fueling this up. But the run up on this is absolutely insane. The big money that's buying this project is enough to not let it go by unnoticed, So definitely keep your eyes on this project. It's had such a fast run up. And it's absolutely insane because, a lot of us were whitelisted. A lot of us didn't mint, or a lot of us sold at like 0.01, 0.02, which just shows you how crazy NFTs are. It's like it's absolutely insanity.
Yeah, I don't think I mentioned this, and I think I was on the whitelist, Maz. So, thanks for bringing that up. Of course. But another example of you might not always be able to sell right away. Might not always see a profit right away. But really, if you believe in the project, you like what they said, you like the team, you might have to have some conviction too, right, to
Yeah.
get in on a project. Because if you just follow everyone else's advice or follow everyone else, you might miss out. Same thing happened to me with Snails, Maz. I mean, you just talked
Oh
about that
yes.
one. I was on the whitelist for Snails, and I didn't end up getting in on that one. And that one, it didn't sell well, right? 0.02
Didn't
for a while, 0.03.
0 0. Yeah, 0
I
1,
mean,
dude.
yeah, 0 1. I mean, and it was essentially dead. Like people were. I mean, some people watching this might not know that this is a thing, but you can hide your NFTs right out of public
Oh,
view. Some people were hiding their snails, right, because it
this is
was
the wrong
kind of
one.
like, yeah, we gotta get Evo
Evo
snails.
snails. Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Um,
so I mean, some people were hiding it, right? Because they just thought the project was dead. And then Wolfgame came along, Orcs picked up, and then everyone started looking for these on-chain, and Snails has racing coming. Which again,
yes.
I was in Zed Run for a little bit, Maz. I didn't do too much there, but I liked that approach, right? That you had NFTs, you could race against each other, you could earn money through racing, through breeding, and we're gonna see that come back. So with
Yeah.
that being said, I mean, I haven't looked at Zed Run in a while, Mass. Maybe that one starts to make a run again, although that one has some supply issues, right? They've got a ton of horses out there.
Yep.
But I mean, NFT games, I would be looking at some of these old projects because I think we're going to see a run again. Chicken Derby, someone said in the chat. Maz, do you know Chicken Derby? That's another one kind of
No.
like Zed Run where it's chickens, and then I think they have a racing game coming. That's a great shout out there, David. That one could be similar to Snails there. I'll have to take a look at Chicken Derby later because, like I said, these games could start to go.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think what happened with snails was they launched during like the bearish cycle, when gas was just up the roof, and this game requires a lot of, a lot of transactions on the blockchain. So every time you want to level up your snail, you're paying, zero point 0.02, zero point 0.03 to just level up a snail. And it was just too expensive. And I think that kind of killed the project for a while, but it's great to see it come back to life. And yeah, let's see if we can pull up the snails here. Casey Neistat, who's a big YouTuber, man, he's been buying a bunch of these. Gary Vee, I think, bought some of these. So it's crazy. Again, we're starting to see these influencers from Web 2.0 come into the crypto world, and they still have a big influence.
There's the snails there. So we're at what, 0.23. I mean, Maz, we talk about this all the time. We just talked about it with soda, right? That people that got priced out of Bored Apes and got priced out of Doodles, you may look for, soda, right? Because it's a cheaper way to kind of get into that same looking, style and artwork, right? So with that being said, Wolf Game, a lot of people are priced out of Wolf Game. Orcs, a lot of people may be priced out of Orcs. We've
Yeah.
got a floor going over 1. So with that being said, some of these cheaper, smaller projects, I think we'll start to see, a run. And Snails at 0.21, I mean, it may see another run as that racing launches. So definitely something to keep on watch here. How about you guys in the chat? Anyone out there, do you have, any of these projects? So, Orcs, Snails, Soda, let us know. And then, yeah, start dropping those other projects. I see Wall Street Bulls. We of course could mention them over and over. That great interview yesterday, but let's find some new projects here. So let us know in the chat. Maz, were there any others you wanted to talk about, or should we get to the chat here?
No, I think you hit it on the head there, Chris. Shout out to the chat. I see a lot of familiar names here coming back, so I love that. And yeah, we're looking at all your suggestions, so keep the comments coming. Small brains, Chris. I see
Yeah,
Casper over
yep.
here.
Yeah, let's
Small
let's
brains,
let's take a
dude.
look at that one.
Layer 2 game, free mints, killing it, absolutely killing it.
Yeah. This is one I don't know as well. I remember seeing it before the mint
It's
and
not an open
everything
sea either.
happened. Yeah, so that's the thing with this, right? Is that it's
Mhm.
not on OpenSea. So it's a little bit different. But here is, yep, there we go.
Go to buy, see if it lets you buy without
Yep, if you
connecting.
click on buy, it'll
Yeah,
pull
takes
up.
you to the
Yep,
Magic Marketplace.
yep.
Yep. Yeah, these are cool, man. And I have two of them. I'm staking them to make them bigger brains. So yeah, you get a girl and a guy, and you get the land, and now they're gonna give you a pet and a car. And this is like I think this is one of the first, if not one of the first layer two that's successful because there's so much volume. Look at all the sales coming up, and it's in a magic token which you transfer back to ETH. So it's a really interesting concept. Dude, the transactions there are so cheap, Chris.
Are they?
Yeah, so cheap. So it's so
Oh
fun.
man, see, we talk about Ethereum all the time, but
Mhm.
again, I mean, some of these projects outside of ETH, it's so crazy to see how cheap the transactions are.
Yeah.
Um, so shout out, yeah, to talking about this one because I mean, Maz, I need to start finding some of these projects outside of ETH to kind of diversify, right? I mean, as much as
Yes.
I said I was avoiding the Solana ones for a long time, I mean, I think at some point I got to at least find something, to
Yeah.
be diversified in that space. So this could be another one in a different area to get diversified. And with that being said, Maz, I see in the chat someone talking about IMX apes.
Yes.
This is another one I heard about through a Discord. I didn't get in myself, but we
Damn, I missed
talked
it.
about IMX in a past episode, Maz, that it was another one of those, cryptos, a new platform. Doge Pound actually used it, I believe, for their Halloween Doge, where they used IMX. And we've also seen the IMX coin shoot up in value, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know IMX apes as well, but I know the project sold out. And again, another. I mean, they're cool looking, Naz, right? They passed that test, and it's another way to kind of diversify yourself outside of ETH.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, Chris. Yeah, I didn't catch this one either. But it seems to be there was a lot of demand there, and we saw people make some nice profit, so that's always
We
good to
got
see.
Squid Game, we got Jack Sparrow, we got Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, so they did well with their 101s there, I'm guessing. So I mean, I'll have to take a look at this one too because again, I mean, I want to get diversified. I want to get into some of these other communities just outside of ETH, right? I love the Ethereum based. I still think that's where you're going to have the blue chips for a long time. But there are going to be other ones pop up. And again, until Ethereum really fixes their gas prices, I think there's big opportunity for some of these other platforms and other cryptos to start bringing in new users or start
Yeah.
taking away others. And Maz, you mentioned Small Brains not being on OpenSea. We didn't even talk about that, right? OpenSea, which actually, when we were scrolling through
Close C.
the Robotos Twitter, you actually saw a post from Robotos saying, like, don't be sad, OpenSea or something like that. OpenSea was pretty broken yesterday. And I mean, Maz, as much as we could hate on OpenSea, they still have sort of a monopoly, right? They're the big project out there, the big one that people use. So again, until Coinbase or some of these others come along, I mean, OpenSea is kind of where you have to do a lot of this at. And I mean, it sucked seeing it down yesterday and seeing floor prices not calculate right. I mean, we saw that with soda. People were
Yeah.
actually selling their sodas for less than the real floor price because there was a broken floor price. So hopefully, none of our viewers or listeners got caught up in that because you got undercut and people were buying them so fast, Maz. What do you think about OpenSea yesterday? Did you experience any of those difficulties? And what do you think about OpenSea here?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of feedback that OpenSea has two employees and they all clock out, before 3 p.m. every day and they kind of don't respond. Obviously, I'm assuming they're working hard behind the scenes, but that's just how it looks like from the outside in. Um, I would like to see this change because, there's going to be a lot of competition. And if OpenSea does not, get its community together, then we may see some, diversification from platforms moving on to other, platforms. So it sucks. Someone mentioned yesterday in the comments, Chris, and let me know your thoughts because the floor price is so, it makes a difference, right? If the floor price is stuck at one point or if it's at another point, it makes a difference with what people list at because we have a big portion of NFT buyers that are just trying to flip for a quick
Yep.
0.0001 profit. So, we see that all the time. So the floor price, they're going to undercut it. Someone brought a good point when they said we should take away the floor price, put the average price in, and see what that does. What do you think that will do to people listing it? Um, would that make a big difference? Would that not? I think OpenSea used to do that before. They changed it to floor price, but I think an average price would be interesting to see now with this much volume coming into OpenSea. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it needs to be fixed. And I mean, Maz, we've seen that before where, when these big mints happen, these big reveals happen, they can't update that floor price fast, right? And unless if you're paying attention to the real sales volume, the real sales, your floor price is just so inaccurate. That's something I really think OpenSea should focus on, right? And they should try to get a more accurate way to display the floor price. And with that being said, anyone out there who is trying to, sell or buy at the floor price, it's about speed, right? But also take an extra second and look at the actual sales history, right? You can click on the sales tab or the activity tab next to the items to see what the recent sales were. So I think that's a good way, to kind of slow down a bit and look. And yeah, I mean, OpenSea, whether or not they have 2 employees or maybe they have 6 now, I don't know. They are working hard, like Matt said. I'm sure they're working hard. They were recently valued at a ton of money. Hopefully they're gonna, invest that money into some infrastructure. Maz, I mean, again, if I'm OpenSea, I've got to be a little worried about Coinbase coming. So I'm a little surprised that yesterday's issues were so apparent and so vocalized by the NFT community, and we really didn't see OpenSea say anything or issue any response.
They did, but way later, probably
Oh, they did? See, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
I had already given up.
Yep,
so yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they did at 7 p.m. last night when it's been going on all day, so no, it's it was a little late response, but
oh man. Let's go back to the chat. Dormant Dragons is one I see. I want to make sure we have the right one. Do you know this one, Mass?
I don't.
I know we have so many dragon ones. I think that this is the right link here because I know there was some copycat ones too. This is another one of those dragon projects, right? There's been a lot of dragons. We talked about Draka a while ago, right? And that this one
launched,
has not,
right?
This one launched. It has not revealed if this is the same one. So James in the chat, I think this is the one you're talking about. Decent sales volume there, right? 193 already. I think this was a day or two ago, Maz. I actually looked at it. I know they did a pre-sale, a whitelist, and I think that they were selling for around 0.16, 0.17 during the whitelist, people flipping. And I actually looked at it, and now at 0.12 going into the reveal, I might have to look at this one after the show because there's so many of these dragon ones, but I know that this one got mentioned in Discord as well. So I have to look at that one later. And then David saying Digi Dragons. I mean, Maz, there's so many dragons. I can't keep them separate here.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because we go through rotations, right? We have the ducks,
apes.
We have the dogs, the apes, and we do a rotation of projects, and they're all in a bundle of 3, 4, 5. It's funny. Right, I think is this the right DigiDragons?
See, that's the other thing with OpenSea, right? Is there's so many copycats. It's so hard to find. So usually I end up going to Twitter first,
right?
Smart. Or to their website, and I think that might be right. See, and that's okay, Maz. Here's the other thing, though. I don't know if DigiDragons has minted, but if they have, they don't have the OpenSea link in their Twitter profile, which I want that OpenSea link right away, right and present. So maybe this one hasn't. Maybe it hasn't minted, and that's a fake one. David in the chat, has DigiDragons actually launched or minted yet? Let us know, so we can share the right information here. Oh, that one's pretty sweet there. Yeah. No, they haven't yet. He says. Okay.
Wait. Yeah.
That is sweet, Maz.
Yeah, looks like a little Pokemon, little Charmander. I was
just gonna say that looks like a little Charmander. Yeah. If I showed that to my kids, they would say the same thing. They would say that's Charmander. So that looks pretty sweet. Again, these dragon ones, Maz, I know I'm in some of these Discords. I tried to get on some of the whitelists, but again, there's so many dragons. I can't even keep them. Oh, and yeah, like Digimon. Yep.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, Digimon.
See,
I
I
remember
never
that
got
show.
into Digimon as much. I
Yeah.
was a Pokemon kid. What about you, Maz?
Yeah, I tried to get to Digimon, didn't either. I
Yeah,
watched a couple, but I don't remember enough to really. Yeah, Pokemon was my thing, man.
yep,
Charizard, you know.
same. Yeah.
Um, Absolutely. So yeah, shout out to David for that. And
Yeah, thank
then
you, David. All right,
let's
chat.
see.
Let's keep going. What other projects do we got to look at here and talk about? Let's go to the chat. All right. I mean, Maz, again, there's so many discords out there that I've joined, and that's one thing, that I gotta just do a better job of keeping track of these dates. Right? When is the whitelist date? How do you
Yes.
get on the whitelist? Am I on the whitelist? When is the mint? I used to have a real good calendar on paper, and it was a lot of scribbles, but that's something the NFT is moving so fast again. And when we were kind of in that, I wasn't really minting anything, so I wasn't really having
Yeah.
to pay attention to the dates, right? I kind of stopped that. Well, now we're back to multiple mints every day, right? So now it's
Yes.
important to kind of, manage and know. So, Maz, what are some tips that you have out there for the community at maybe keeping track of all the different discords and the dates that can maybe be overwhelming to new people to the space, or even people that, are fully all in the space?
Absolutely. That's a great point, Chris. And actually, I didn't do this till recently, but Discord, we can have up to 100, if not more, channels that we're in. So I decided to make it. I have my main channel, which I'm a part of, and then I have a whitelist folder. Folders are the keys here, right?
Folders. That's the big
Yes.
word. Yes.
So have a potential whitelist channel, have a whitelist you've made channel, have a research channel, break it down into different folders, right? Once you do that, you add them, you move them from one folder to the other, and you keep them organized. And then that's the best way I have found to be able to structure which discords I go into. As far as whitelist dates, launch dates, and things like that. Remember, Chris, in June, July, do you remember the NFT calendar that would remind us of all the drops? And that's what we
Yep.
would use for
Yep.
alpha? That's dead now. Nobody
Yeah, it's
uses that.
gone. Yeah.
Nobody uses that. Like
Nope.
that, if you're paying for that, you're wasting money. Nobody cares
Yep.
about that anymore. It's all through alpha, through Twitter or Discord now. That's where you want to find the good drops or the stealth drops. So making an Excel sheet or a calendar with all these whitelists and dates and reminders is key as well. It takes some work, but I think it pays off. You look at Small Brains, Chris. It was a free mint. If you sell now, it's around 0.5 profit in ETH for doing nothing but signing up to a whitelist.
Yep.
You look at EtherOrcs. Again, it was a free mint. You did nothing. You just signed up. You went into the Discord and said hi. It's a free mint. If you minted, you probably have 10 ETH now, if you sold. So again, you're making money by investing your time and doing your research. Organization is key. Absolutely.
I think Google Calendar is another place I would look, or whatever
Yes.
calendar you use on your phone, right? I mean, through work here at Benzinga, we use, shout out Google. We use, Gmail. We use Google Calendar. So I already have events on my calendar, right? So I can go in and I can simply add mint Draca, right? Or whatever, mint soda, put it on that calendar for that day. And then when I look in the morning, I know, right?
Yeah.
Hey, today's mint is. And then if I didn't put the time, I can pull it up, right? And go find the time. I can leave myself a little note next to the computer that says, hey, 2 p.m. Eastern time mint, or 2 p.m. Eastern time pre-sale, right? And
Yeah.
as you said, I mean, Discord management so important. I use folders now too. That's something I did not do for a long time. And I wish I
Definitely.
would have for months and months, right? I could have gotten in on some of these mints that I simply just forgot about or lost track of time. But now I have that whitelist folder. I have that folder of projects I own, right? The NFTs
Yeah.
that I already have in my wallet, which is important too, right? To hear their announcements, see their updates, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're counting on an airdrop or breeding or something, you want to stay involved and stay engaged. And like you said, Maz, you can have over 100, you can have 100 discords if you pay, which I do, and I think you do. You can have more than 100 discords. That's a lot, right? To try to be, and I can't be active in all of them, but I can try to manage all of them, right? To know which ones I need to look at, based on certain times. So great tips there from you, Maz, and the tips that I know as well. Again, education, guys. That's what we're about. We're trying to help you guys be successful in the NFT space. Not financial advice, but education's so important. we're running out of time here. Maz, did you see any more pop up in the chat while we were talking about management there?
Absolutely, Chris. So shout out David again here. So David actually came on to the night show.
Let's go.
Yeah, and he brought this one last time, and I want your opinion on this, Chris. Enigma Economy NFT, and I think it's some sort of mining NFT. He mentioned it last time, and we did some very little research. So I would love to look it up again, and yeah, get your thoughts on this project.
Yeah, this is one I don't know. Wow, this is interesting. Staking. We got a roadmap. So David, so sold out. So we already minted, right? And what do we have for floor? We were at 0.15, collection of around 4,000, 207 volume traded. That's pretty cool. I mean, I like the artwork. You got some different creatures, and then those pickaxes. So you can actually use these then to earn along the way. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's the first minting NFT project, I believe. If you go back to their website. Which I think if they truly are, that's historic. That's pretty awesome.
We know what historic means in the space.
Yeah, exactly. Historic projects tend to over time do well. But yeah, and just I like looking at the tech behind this project, kind of like how it's gonna work. With the whole like,
man,
I guess you get paid.
I like how colorful that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was a good one he brought last time, and I did, some research based on the fact of the minting fees and percentages and things like that. I found that very interesting.
Yeah, shout out David in the chat, and Mass, thanks for asking me here. One thing I did look at is on Twitter. I only have like 5 or 6 followers in common, which it looks like a couple influencers are in there. Which I mean is decent. We've got 4,100 followers on Twitter. I didn't look at the Discord, but I mean, I like that earning, and it looks like they're doing or did an Ask Me Anything recently. I mean, we're big fans of teams that want to connect with community, right? Whether it's coming on our show, doing Twitter Spaces with us or with others, doing Ask Me Anythings. Their roadmap, it looks like they've got staking being number 1. Then we've got GPUs acquired, staked Enigma's mine, Ethereum, and then a second wave sale as step 4. Which I like that. And then, of course, gaming is their 6th step. So, Maz, we're in the staking period, which, has been hot right now. But again, they've got gaming coming. They've got another mint coming, it looks like. So this is one I'm definitely going to have to put on watch here.
Looks like a wild troll.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I mean, again, look at the last dragons we looked at, right? That were similar to Pokemon and Digimon. Any of these projects where you don't just copy the artwork, but you're influenced by projects that, Maz, you and I played as kids, right? Or we at least knew about. I think that brings people into your community, right? Because it gives them something that they can connect with, right? So, I mean, anyone who played WoW, right? They may look at this and say, hey, I know that, or I know what that, looks like, and they want to be in. So, it catches our attention for sure. Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely, Chris. All right, what do you say, Chris? Should we look up one more project?
Yeah, let's find one more. We're going a couple minutes over here, but again, it's all about community. We got the long weekend coming up, so no show tomorrow. Everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving if you celebrate here in the U.S. I'm sure we've got some international viewers and listeners, so you can celebrate the long weekend as well. And hopefully there's stuff that you're thankful for, including, the NFTs and the NFT communities. What are you seeing in the chat, Maz? I'll let you pick here our last one for the day. Did you find one?
Yes, let's look up Zoids. Shout out Mike. I see him here all the time. Mike
is always in our chat. I know that logo. So I mean, when you know people's logos, you know that they're in here a lot. So I don't know if I know this one. So we're gonna have to pull this one. Do you know this one, Mass?
I don't, so I'm curious to listen to see
nice.
it. And while you're pulling it up, though, I do see some comments about like how to start an NFT, or what are thoughts on this one. I would love to talk more about that in future episodes. About people wanting to start NFTs, or to cover different topics. So yeah, make sure to tune in. We appreciate that question.
I don't know if I even know We can find.
Did
Oh,
I even
there it is.
say it right? Did I even say it right? Is it Zoids or is it Exoid?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, I guess. Mike in the chat, let us know. Okay, there we go. There's the artwork. Ooh, I mean, there's a lot going on in those pictures.
Yeah, those pixel
You know,
art.
we got color, but there is a lot in the background. We got a tokenized metaverse. There's some key buzzwords there. Badges, a ship, and keys. All right. So has this one a 4,444? VR and AR. I mean, that's huge right now with the metaverse. Has this one minted yet?
I don't think so.
Has a great dev team. Mike says you got it. So we're on the right. Coming soon, it says. Okay. Okay. Well, we like that, Maz, right? When we find these projects before they launch, right? All right. Click on, let's see if one of them, do they link to the project at all? I couldn't find a Twitter for them. I was trying to find... Whitelist open now. Mike, where is this whitelist? Let's go.
Yeah, how do we whitelist, Mike?
Are we getting alpha right now live on the roadmap? I mean, let's go.
Do you find the Twitter? Yes. Is that it?
Is that it? All right, you got to drop that in the chat here so I can start clicking on my buttons. All right, and then we might have to share that in the chat as well here. All right. There it is in the chat, guys. I mean, again, we do not know this project. We were looking at it for the first time, you know, and again, I mean, just looking at it, you know, I like the artwork. I like the fact that it hasn't launched yet. I like the fact that there's whitelist available, but I'll really have to do some digging and, you know, find out if I want to mint it. I don't know what the price is or anything. Maz, any thoughts on Exoids or Zoids or whatever you want to call it here?
You know, no full thoughts yet. You know, I like the artwork, but I want to take a deeper dive into this. So I'll probably join the Discord and, you know, check it out.
That's what I'm working on right now, is trying to get in the Discord and maybe try to get on that whitelist. And again, just because you're on a whitelist doesn't mean you necessarily have to mint it, but also you might forget to mint it, as we just talked about so many times on today's episode. I mean, over 6,000 in the Discord. That's cool for a project I've never heard of. 0.077, Mike is saying now too. So Mike, shout out to you again, you know, bringing some alpha here. Again, not financial advice. Make sure everyone out there, you do your own research, but another example of, you know, how following along with some of these projects before they mint, you know, can really give you an edge. So we'll definitely have to check it out, Maz and I, and maybe report back. And it looks like some people in the chat are also enjoying checking it out as well. Maz, I think that's going to do it. Again, the show kind of flew by, right? Just like yesterday, you know, we did the news, we did the headlines, and then we went to the chat, and we also talked about some recent mints, which is something we haven't been able to do recently because there hasn't been good mints recently, right? But we're starting to see that again. So that was a nice change of pace to be able to talk about, you know, goons and soda, right? And talk about projects that we own and that we got in. And then also go to the chat, right? And hear about some of these upcoming or some of these projects that already minted. I mean, Maz, I wrote down several of them, you know, from today's show. So, I mean, I like having a watch list here in front of me, where then when I have time, I can go check out the Discords. I can check out, you know, I can go check out, you know, and do research. So hopefully we're saying that right. Zoids. Maybe we'll have to pull them on Twitter Spaces or a show, Maz, and get more insight here, because that's what we're all about. So
absolutely. And, you know, Chris, we should start keeping an Excel sheet of all these projects, because I want to create a community where we get some good alpha from the community, but also ourselves, and not just become like, we don't want to just shill stuff, but we actually want to take the time and do work and figure out these projects, you know. And I think me and you can tell when a project is just trying to pump and dump, and, you know, when there's an organic growth, you know, like a fully doxed team and they're trying to build. Obviously, there's still scams going on, but I would love to create that community for us here on Benzinga and the NFT community to come join us with us, you know?
Yeah, definitely. All right, Maz. Well, that's going to do it for today. A reminder for anyone that didn't catch it at the start of the show, if you're watching this live and it is still Wednesday, Twitter Spaces tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, featuring Maz as the host, talking to the EtherOrcs team. Again, that's a very exciting project, and one that we have talked about before that is really picking up steam. So you don't want to miss that Twitter Spaces to hear more about that game and how you can play the game, how you can earn along the way. There it is. It's in the chat, guys. Go ahead, click on it, set yourself a reminder. And again, if you're not following Maz on Twitter, make sure you do so you can get that alpha as well. Maz, happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm going to miss doing a show tomorrow, but the long weekend will be nice. And hey, be able to do some more NFT research. So what do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Chris. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys as well. We're coming back on Tuesday, right, Chris? Tuesday?
Yeah. Yep. So next week,
Tuesday.
I believe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to have to double check, make sure we have no Benzinga events. But I know that we've got some exciting interviews coming up. And I was just reminded of one of them there, Maz. We talked about it yesterday. Sappy Seals. That's one that people mentioned in the chat for a while. Sappy Seals will be joining us on Tuesday's episode, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it, everyone. We will see you Tuesday.
Absolutely, guys. See you guys on Tuesday, and we'll see you. We're still here, though. We'll